Peace and blessings on the children. This should a queen quit. Head pun the body the Gullah Geechee Nation. We did right, ya. In this area, we did call some woo and thing like a daddy. But plenty on the children. I no overstand me. So I could crack my teeth this other way with on the children. So you know who we to talk about ya. Cause this year the time. Yeah. It's weeping time. Time for weep no more. So here in Savannah, Georgia, West Savannah, in Gullah Geechee Nation, is the historic location of what we call the weeping time. We commemorate this particular 2 days of horror that were part of the crime against humanity, the chattel enslavement of our African ancestors. The reason that those of us here from Jacksonville, North Kakalaki down to Jacksonville, Florida, Anija, Seattle, and a thing like that, and Ruttawas, England, to the St. Johns River, the call who we be, the we be, Gullah Geechee. Those Africans that melded together to become Gullah Geechee, over 400 of them were sold at this site over the course of 2 days. They said God cried, and that's why it rained for those 2 days over this area that we now call West Savannah, Georgia. Currently, the city of Savannah has approved the moving forth of the Salvation Army, bringing in a shelter into this West Savannah community across from where you see me standing. According to maps that date back into the era of Reconstruction, they indicate that it is a much broader expanse of this community that actually was the ground on which our ancestors were held in bondage like cattle, much less chattel, as God cried. And I believe the ancestors were sending down libation. So how can we stand by now and only think that a caveat to allowing a move to go forth to put a shelter into this community instead of economic empowerment into this community is something that we should only allow to go through after an archaeological survey? What about cultural heritage impact? What about the community impact that will go on for multiple generations? Our ancestors being sold that day had an impact that is still upon us of this generation, that when we think of the crime against humanity, tears ought to come to our eyes, that we should weep again for those ancestors. But I say to you, instead of tears, may we pour libation. May we pour libation for the next generation. But in this generation, I'm calling on you to weep no more. Dry your eyes. Stand up. Speak out. We're asking the world to write the Salvation Army. Email them, call them, fax them. Go knock on the door if you're in the area of their national headquarters, and express to those there at the national headquarters that you are not against the Salvation Army. We are soldiers in the army of the Lord, is what we say here in the Gullah Geechee Nation. That is one of our spirituals. And we march against poverty politics. We want enrichment, upliftment, empowerment for all of the Gullah Geechee Nation. So we call on the Salvation Army to do that with us by choosing another location to place a shelter on. We call on the city of Savannah to work with the community members of West Savannah, leaders of the Gullah Geechee Nation, to actually place a memorial site in the community that can help others for the future generations learn from an interpretive center about the weeping time. Let us help the community to have economic drivers, but more than that, the education and the empowerment to tell our story so we know who we be. And ain't going to be all of this, y'all, crying up and things like that in we country. This, y'all, the Gullah Geechee Nation. We know who we be. We be Gullah Geechee anointed people. Yeti, this, y'all know. The pastor of the West Savannah community, a fruit of that community, speak on behalf of our family. Yeti, the word.
Reverend Dr. Lennox Small.
I am a lifelong citizen of the city of Savannah. We are here arguing a point, considering whether we will have the Salvation Army place a structure on land that should be set aside because of what happened there. It should be as important for us to set aside this land as any land that's been set aside on earth as a result of human suffering and man's inhumanity to man. No one would consider building anything on Auschwitz or Dachau. No one would consider building anything at Ground Zero or at Gettysburg. No one. And now we, the citizens of the city of Savannah, having a place in our community which had the largest sale of human beings in the history of these United States. And someone would say, well, that was a long time ago. But my grandfather was born this same year, 1859. So we are a caring people. But you cannot tell me that there's nowhere else in the entire city of Savannah that you can put this except this particular spot. We have people who are more than likely the offspring of those very people who got sold, who are willing to tread upon the memory of their ancestors. This ground is sacred. This ground is holy. They said it rained so hard. It started raining as they started selling souls. It started raining. And somebody said it was as if God was crying. And that's why they called it the weeping time. Now we've got squares dedicated downtown in Savannah. They're dedicated to Confederate soldiers who would have kept me in mind a slave. They would be selling my grandchild. They'd be selling my wife. They would be doing what they did to them in the weeping time. They were tailgating while they were selling us. It was a party. It was a festival. And some brothers looked over and saw their brother's family and realized that one would be sold and go to Louisiana, and another brother would be sold and go to North Carolina, and they would never see each other again as long as they lived. And you're going to have to build something on this spot. You're going to have to allow it. What's history going to say about you? What's history going to say about Savannah? How are we going to live with ourselves if we will not protect our heritage? Who will? Said by a Caucasian brother. What are we going to do this day? I've got blood here. I'm appealing not only to city council, but to the Salvation Army. You're supposed to be a Christian organization. How can you do this?
Amen. Amen. Ashe. So now you have work to do today. This does fall to this generation. So right there is the information on the screen for what you can do today. Write a letter, fax a letter, email a letter. You can even tweet to the Salvation Army. Follow our Twitter feed at Gullah Geechee, at Gullah Geechee. Follow our website, GullahGeecheeNation.com, GullahGeecheeNation.com, and sign the petition to tell the city of Savannah to help the West Savannah community weep no more. We must protect this site of the weeping time. Go to change.org or send us an email to gullgeeco@aol.com. Because why do I stand at this site of the weeping time with my eyes dry? Because I weep no more. Because I know what's in store. We be Gullah Geechee anointed people. And just as they could not break the spirits of our ancestors all those generations ago. We look forward now and we stand for the generation coming behind us, our children that will grow up. We want them to know and to never forget the weeping time, but we also want them to know who they be and that they be Gullah Geechee anointed people that can stand up now and say, we know who we be and we be free. We weep no more.